video.
The video.
The video.
Video.
Video. So my little. How many screens are you using right now?
Screens?
Man,
Only 3 because I still don't think they've released an update for this docking station.
Did they get back to you when you emailed them?
3 because Ooh, I'm glad I checked that. Gotta make sure that that's output on the correct thing. And then I will... What's this event logs nonsense?
Gotta do the event logs.
Live service received the video signal. Okay. Glad I checked that. Gotta make sure that that's output on the correct thing. And then I will... What's this event logs nonsense? Does that sound really loud?
Gotta do the event logs.
Live... I'm gonna do this thing real quick.
Armpit.
Did you just say armpit?
It's gonna say saw one.
Oh gosh, was it right up in there? Oh,
right up in there. Oh, you can't get any closer to that.
Guess you really can't.
It's basically smell-o-vision.
Well, at least
smell the onions.
I still wasn't live on Facebook yet.
Are we live on anything right now?
I think so.
It's amazing. I'm glad the whole world can see what I see every day.
Every day. What? What does that mean? All right,
let's do this.
Oh yeah, let's double check this.
The world can see what I see every day. Oh my God.
Every day. What? Does mine sound loud or something?
Okay. I can't.
All
right, let's do this.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, going live on Facebook. No, it's so far behind. And make sure, yeah, that looks good.
You gotta be like 3, 2,
3, 2,
1, 1. And then whatever tech key sounds like.
Oh, I'm on the wrong Twitch thing.
What Twitch are you on? It's pronounced Twitter.
Oh.
Oakwad. Oh boy. Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
I don't know, this game I was kind of looking at.
Oh yeah?
Just because the E3 was talking about it, that's all.
There it goes. Yeah, that's working. That's working. Yeah.
Looks kind of cool.
What do you think? Yeah. Okay. Video is up. Just need to check the thing that's got the stuff, which is on the whatchamacallit. Wait, that's what I wanted. What's wrong with me?
What's wrong indeed?
Silly me.
I thought you said Billy.
Billy
silly.
Sharing that. There we go. Okay, I suppose we should start.
That's true.
Okay.
Okay.
And 3.
I'm ready. I'm sorry.
Good times.
Yeah, good. In times.
In 3, 2, 1.
Tech Bees.
Hello and welcome back to Tech Ease, the podcast about simplifying our lives one gadget at a time. This is episode number 81 for Sunday, June 10th, 2018. I'm Shane, and that is Tony.
Hello, hello.
Hi. Hi, Tony. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We've got a little bit of rain today, which I'm happy about.
Yeah,
Water.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Kind of a lot.
I was talking to our buddy Drew today, who was on our last episode, and he got rained out at like 4 a.m. camping, and that's always fun. That happened to our little group up in the Dells. That was no. Well, I should say it decided. Of course, it decides to just start raining as we're about to pack up. So then I still had to like air everything out, thoroughly. But
sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot to say Matt's on assignment, of course. And
what's he doing?
I'm that we're not at liberty to say. I don't think.
I suppose.
What's new with you?
What is new? Too much, really. Just plugging along. Not really doing too much. Mm-hmm. Just outside when I can, when it's nice out, and I don't know. I actually, I don't know. I've been hearing a lot about this game called Fortnite, and I think a lot of people have been playing it. I haven't been playing it, but I have been watching it on Twitch, and I get the appeal. There's some hardcore people out there. Just I suppose whoever I'm watching is pretty hardcore into it to actually be good enough for other people to watch them play. AKA that's why they're on Twitch, but just other podcasts I've listened to, they talk about it, and I don't know, it's kind of like a battle royale type situation where it seems like everyone's on an island and you build forts, but you're basically it's like a first person shooter. Actually, it's a third person shooter. It is. So it's kind of interesting, different take on your typical shooter game because you have to build stuff too.
Third person builder / shooter, I guess.
Yeah. Have you heard or watched it or anything?
Yeah, a bit. Here and there, and it's 2 days in a row I've been hearing people talk about it. But so I just got back from Texas, and some of the kids there are somehow still into Minecraft, which I was surprised about. But
yeah, I do hear that from time to time. People are. I don't want to say I might date me if I say this, but I'm just going to say it anyway. I just think the younger generations are more into those games as like sandbox games, like Minecraft, or just you're just in some kind of environment and you can do whatever you want. Like I think growing up we didn't have that much, I guess, choice or
do what I want.
Yeah, just of anything. I mean, I don't know if you tend to like those kinds of games. I suppose Warcraft was us. And,
well, yeah,
which in a way it sort of is
very different kind of Warcraft than traditional Warcraft too. But I was gonna say too, it is blowing up right now. I don't know what the deal is with Fortnite. I know because right before that it was PUBG. That was the PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and then they.
Well, I heard about those both kind of at the same time, so I don't know which one's first or which one is older.
Well, supposedly Fortnite came first, and then we released PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Anyway, and then Fortnite released basically their version of PUBG, like that format. That's my understanding of it, or similar to that. But
are these both free to play games?
They are. That's a good question. No, that's a good question. I don't actually know the answer.
I don't know anything about PUBG. Yeah, but like Fortnite, hey, if I wanted to try it out, I could. But I don't know if I want to get into anything right now. So kind of watching it doesn't really give me any hook to do it. But I suppose if it's a free game, I'm not really losing anything either. So I don't know.
That's true.
It's available on all systems too, and iOS, and I think Android. So.
Yeah, I've heard that. So, because I forgot to ask at this point, Tony, because I saw you had there. Something you were drinking. What might that be?
This is Gumball Head by 3 Floyds.
I may have had.
And yes, you might have had one of those yesterday.
Yeah, true story. And I have my.
Your wine mixture?
My wine. Well, it's just wine, but it's a
wine.
Captain Morgan thing here. It's like a fake Solo cup.
Oh, is it a Solo cup with a like a sleeve on it?
You mean like a yeah, something like that. I was also gonna say I was gonna offer. Of course, this might not go as smooth as I thought, but I was gonna see if anyone wanted to kind of call in on this episode, but maybe we'll see what the chat says before I offer anything like that. If anybody from the chat room has an interest, they can.
Do you know what number?
Whoa! Now we got people saying stuff. PUBG you need to pay for. Fortnite is not on Android yet.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Tyler.
Yeah.
Appreciate that for the feedback.
Yes, that was good.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Oh yeah. So we established the drinks. Okay. Well, I guess that means Tony, you're good to go here first again, right?
Sure. You just throw me first. That's
News.
Yes, this article is from Engadget, and it is the U.S. again has the world's most powerful supercomputer, and I believe this happened on Friday. This article came out on Friday, and it is the U.S. has a new supercomputer, and I believe it's called Summit, SUMMIT, and pretty straightforward. Max capacity running at 200 petaflops, and that is the equivalent of 200 quadrillion calculations per second. And then the record beforehand was China, which I believe they had it for 5 years, and their supercomputer was called Sunway Tahoe Light. Shane? Whether I want it or not, you usually try to correct me when I try to sound out stuff. So yeah, and there's a big difference. They did hold the record for 5 years, and theirs is 93 petaflops. So 93 versus 200, it's a pretty big gap. Anyway, the Summit is also 7 times faster than the previous U.S. supercomputer, which was the Titan. And both of these U.S. supercomputers are at the same location, the Oak Ridge National Lab in Tennessee. And the specs of this supercomputer, there is 4,608 servers, and it is the size of 2 tennis courts.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Texas or something.
What's that?
It's not the size of Texas.
And it is the size of Texas.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just... Anyway, it houses more than 9,000 22-core IBM Power 9 processors. And I know most computers, they'll either have the dual core or they'll have a quad core, typical desktop computer. I think some of them are coming out with 6-core ones soon to be this year or something like that. If they aren't already, I haven't really looked at current PCs. But anyway, also 27,000 NVIDIA Tesla V100 GPUs are in this supercomputer. And I was kind of looking at the cooling and also the power, and I kind of think this is... I mean, people might think this is kind of a waste, but the cooling system takes 4,000 gallons of water a minute. And it uses enough power to run 8,100 homes.
Oh, gosh.
So this is what... I mean, I'm sure this is a very expensive piece of technology.
Wasteful
but
piece of technology.
This is what it's going to be used for. And maybe we're hoping that, I'm guessing the benefits will be, what you get worth will be more than what you're putting into it. I don't know, but
or they're just worried about breaking a world record. I don't know.
Well, it could be, but it is designed. Well, that doesn't. I mean, why spend money then just on a world record? I mean, I don't know. I'm just not. Bragging rights. That's not going to pay the bills. After a while.
Well, I mean, you could. Well, then again, competition. Friendly
got us
competition.
To the moon, right? That
yes, that's literally what I was going to go with there. So sure, in that regard, I guess it's good.
That's true, but that also in itself, not to get sidetracked, did give us a lot more different technologies by getting to the moon. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but NASA with space and that. Supposedly,
so Tyler also says 28-core Intel and 32-core. Is this part of what you're talking about here? 32-core AMD announced at Computex last week.
That could be for. Was that for desktops?
I would presume as much.
Yeah.
They'll
because I just said what was typical for traditional desktops.
They'll likely
like
rent.
how many cores are in a CPU for a desktop or laptop?
So they'll likely rent or sell cycles on it. That's kind of interesting. Yes, for desktops. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, some of the uses were designed for artificial intelligence. They had that in mind. Uses machine learning and deep learning to power research into health, physics, and climate modeling. They are already, and this is something I've kind of tried to read up on. I'm not too familiar with this, but they're always using Summit to run the first exascale scientific calculations. And I'm thinking this is just huge data. So we've got, like, what we've got giga, we've got tera, we've got exabytes. I think this is the exa. I think that's where this is coming from.
Exo, maybe?
Exabytes, but exa scientific calculations. And they're saying this is 1 billion calculations per second, and which is 1 exop, which I believe is an exaflop, but they're kind of like maybe cutting it off a little bit.
Is that spelled right? The way you have it here?
Yeah. This is what the article has. Yeah.
EXAOP. Okay.
Yeah, and I think they're kind of dropping it a bit, and I couldn't find much on it, but some of the like just doing a random Google search they had that exact phrase or word on a couple things. So I think this is still pretty new in terms of computing. So that 1 billion calculations per second is 1 exop. I don't know how you pronounce that.
Wait. We need to we need to consult one of these dictionary sites for this. Please continue. I'll try to find it.
All right, exop. It's in the article. It did say it was EXAOP. That's how we're trying to say it. And the Summit, the supercomputer, did 1.88 exops. And they did that while analyzing the DNA, the genome. So anyway, the U.S. is aiming to build a fully capable exascale computing ecosystem for research by 2020, and this summit is a stepping stone in that direction. Some of the other projects they talked about was analyzing exploding stars or supernovas and to find out the elements like gold moving through the universe. And simulating on new types of materials such as superconductors. Yes, Shane?
I typed in that word and then pronounce, and I get how to pronounce hypodeigma in biblical Greek. Like, what? And firefighter, Armageddon, and carnivore.
I think this is still pretty... I did find one just random Google search, which did kind of drop it. And I don't know if this is Wikipedia or something, so, take that with a grain of salt, too. But something they said exa, and then I think they flop, but then they kind of did drop it, and they kind of put that together for whatever reason they're doing it with this one.
Is it like exa-op, or...?
Maybe, exa-op. I could see that, maybe.
It's a dumb word. I'm not going to lie.
It's dumb. Anyway, the other thing was... it also says the relationship between cancer factors like genes, biological markers, and the environment. Also, other disease markers such as Alzheimer's, heart disease, and addiction. So we're kind of going all over the place here with the genome, universe, simulations, and health. So I think this... I mean, yeah, you could say what you will about how this is just a giant drain on water and resources, but I mean, if we can get a lot out there just to maybe help, give us a better understanding and maybe some cures and maybe some, better maybe technology. I mean, it'll probably be worth it.
It's for the greater good.
Greater good, but I mean, there's a lot of, I suppose, money, time, energy to be put into this to get some of that stuff out in the future. But
and water.
It's nice. We're U.S. We're back to #1 with the computer. Yay!
Yeah, we were
so. Yeah.
Right on. You know what I'm surprised about here? Neither of us, however you want to pronounce it, has an article about WWDC. Maybe we should briefly mention that.
Well, it's good, but I don't know how. I mean, I feel like
we overdo it with Apple stuff.
There's no what?
We feel like we overdo it with Apple stuff.
Well, that's kind of what I was going to go with. Like, I don't want to be too biased. I mean, I know you're clearly like you'll talk Apple up into the storm. It's the best thing in the world.
I also talk it down though.
Well, that's true. You're quick to point out the flaws when they are when you think there are flaws. I don't know.
Okay, well now that he's mentioned that nothing happened at WWDC, I'll go ahead and I'll run down exactly what happened.
Yes, nothing happened.
What?
No, I just like a good old fashioned. Go on. No, just keep going. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, first off, they started by talking about how they're making a lot of in a lot of cases, they're like doubling the speed of their existing Apple products, which, as far as I'm concerned, they didn't need to do, but maybe they thought they needed to because of the whole battery gate or whatever they called it.
I think that's part of the reason why they did it.
I'm sure it is. But you know what? It already ran fantastic, and they still feel compelled to do it. And there was a lot. Like there's huge speed boosts they're making to it. But along with that, I mean, they're doing whatever. This is maybe behind. I'm sure Android already did this, but they're doing like up to 32 people FaceTime. Not that I'll really use it, but that seems pretty impressive to me. And
well, that's just something else. It's like when FaceTime came out, it was a novelty we used once in a while, and then nothing really. Really, I can count on one hand how many times last year I did it.
I think the most important thing, clearly though, is the advanced Animojis and Memojis, right? I mean, that is the big thing to be.
I don't have a 10. I need to spend $1,000 to be able to do that.
Just kidding. I do think that I'll be surprised if Nintendo doesn't sue them over the Memoji thing, but
I don't know why they're making a big deal about that.
Yeah. Well,
just
then
the emojis in general. You got the front-facing camera. It's nice. You can move your face. I don't think that's. I think they're just. I don't know.
No, it's whatever. But thing, I don't know, the dark mode thing on macOS is pretty cool. It's, it's simple, but it
looks nice.
It looks nice. Yeah, you could argue like you couldn't change your theme before.
Good. I don't know. I thought
sure. You could argue that Windows has been able to change their window colors forever. That's fine. But the stacks.
I think last year they came out with their dark mode.
Oh, okay. The stacks thing in on your desktop, I think people are really going to like that. Being able to stack individual basically cleans up your desktop significantly, I think. If you have
cluttered desktop. You have a lot of stuff on your desktop?
I don't now, but
I don't know if this is just growing up. I just always had to keep it clean. And if I'm on a Windows computer, which I am right now, this is just me from olden days. This is maybe old man Tony doesn't want to change. I like my computer, which is this computer now. I have network and I have recycling bin. I don't like anything else on my desktop.
Yeah. No face. Oh,
and if I'm on a Mac, it's just a dock.
See, he's agreeing about it. He's like me. He can admit when the other side, so to speak, is has nice things, and he thinks FaceTime is impressive, but that the emojis is dumb. Yeah, agreed.
Did you talk about the walkie-talkie on your watch?
I was about to. Yeah, that's the walkie-talkie thing from Apple Watch to Apple Watch is pretty neat. That's basically, and they've had the equivalent of via different apps. I think Voxter is already an option on the phone on your phone, but it's basically that where they're doing. Did you hear that just now?
I did.
I gotta remember to mute that.
I always think it's some sort of alert I forgot to shut off.
So that's kind of neat, just being able to talk instantly. Between it has to be people that you allow to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then I'll have to see.
Do you think they cap that?
I'm not that I can't say, but it seems.
I don't remember.
I'll have to see how it works because I might not want to do it if like it just all of a sudden goes off or something, like in the middle of something, that wouldn't be good. But
yeah, that's true.
I'm sure it
maybe
will
get a little wrist vibration or something.
And then I don't know, like the Apple TV stuff. They're doing what was it? Was it just the different screensaver things, or what was the?
That, and I think they're going to have some cable companies. You don't need a box. Like I think one of them was
Spectrum. Spectrum is on board with that, which is good.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Since they're local to us and we both have them. Well, we don't have their TV service, so I don't. Or you do? Do you? No, you don't. No. But then like you can find out what the location is on a screensaver. That's kind of a dumb thing too. But what was the other? Well, what do we miss here? Is that everything?
Mojave.
Well, that was the dark mode and stuff, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's true.
There's other things in there, but that's kind of.
I guess the whole thing with like marzipan, although they're not calling it that.
What is that?
that's where using like iOS apps on your Mac but they're calling it, what is it? Just universal apps or whatever.
Oh yeah. That's right. Yeah, that was.
But I've heard it's called codename Marzipan or whatever.
I've kind of wanted that as an option for a while, being able to run your iOS apps on your Mac. So I probably utilize that to some extent. But yeah, I guess beta at this point. Some of that photo sharing stuff was good too. I guess I forgot about that. But with iOS, they're making it easier to just kind of, like, it'll automatically detect if you were something like if you were on a trip with someone, and then it'll ask if you want to share photos right away. That kind of stuff is kind of neat. And then,
yeah, that's true.
And then
notifications was another thing.
Oh yeah, they're cleaning up notifications. Sure, good things.
And then making making it so you can I think quantify how often you use your phone and what apps you use, and maybe stop it. And
just a quick mention, the speed performance. It says up to, I'll say that first, up to 70% faster swipe to camera. That's cool. I'm sure that means with the latest iPhone, you know. Up to 50% faster keyboard display, and up to 2 times faster app launch under heavy workload. And then there's some asterisk stuff down here. But I don't know. And then I think there's battery. I think it's a lot of that saves battery life too. But on top of all of that, they're supporting all these. They're supporting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 types of iPhones and 13 different iPads, but only one iPod Touch.
Seriously?
Apparently.
They still have an iPod Touch?
Only the iPod Touch 6th generation? Oh, wow.
Is that the last one they made?
Yeah, most people probably don't have those at this point.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah.
But anyway, Windows tried to do universal apps. Well, that was one of the other things they pointed out was that they get the question all the time about, are you going to merge iOS and macOS? And this is something I said to Tony years ago about like how I thought they were on the way to doing it, and they just said no.
I think they're still gonna do it.
And
they can say whatever they want to us.
Here's the difference: like Apple is smarter about this because they know that they're very different devices, and that's a big part of the reason of keeping them separate.
They're slowly bringing things together.
I mean, they bring the looks, they bring the styles together, but they're not.
And some of those apps.
Yeah.
Gotta get my stocks, man. Gotta get my stocks on my Mac, my Mojave.
Right.
That's right. So and it's all combined into news now? Is that the...
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, that's
Which is also coming to the Mac.
Right.
Boom, 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 boom. Coming together. Oh, we came out with the MacBook Pro. That's a touchscreen now.
Well, I think at least part of that decision, too, is because I find iOS is just a much more stable, simpler operating system. So
it's newer.
It's newer. It is built. It's built off of some of the same core technology, but I do think it's what's the word? It's more lean, and just runs better. Probably saves a lot less battery, power and all that fun stuff. But anyway,
yeah, I suppose I think it was built in mind from the ground up to be more mobile versus when I think Mac OS came out, and you could say Windows to an extent too. Those were more like, all right, we can plug it in. Sure, they had laptop versions of this stuff. I mean, just you had these operating systems on laptops, but iOS was built where most of the time it would not be plugged in, and I think that probably helps the performance with it, and also keeping it lean.
Yep.
Which also helps with the performance. Yeah. And so I think that helped in a great way too. Yeah.
So and real quick, I guess we kind of briefly ran through all of them, but at this point, Apple does have 4 different operating systems with iOS, macOS, watchOS, and tvOS. Those are the 4, and they've kind of over the last couple of years they kind of made all those so they were similar names. Because macOS was for a long time they were just saying OS 10 and. iOS used to be iPhone OS and all that, so now they're all kind of
for a year, right?
Was it only a year?
Was it a year and a half, or 2 years?
At least 2
Did it change to iOS when the App Store came out? a year later?
I didn't think it was right away. I thought it was more in line with the iPad, but
That would have been 3 years later.
yeah. Well, I don't
Maybe.
know. Who knows?
Could have been. Yeah, I haven't looked at it. I don't know. But, I mean, some people didn't like WWDC because they want hardware. Everybody likes hardware. And I know Developers Conference mostly just about software, but sometimes they do announce hardware. Whether it be a refresh or something that's coming out later, like I think the year before they announced the HomePod, and I think they announced the iMac Pro, which was last year. So, but this year, straight up software. Some people disappointed, some people like So, I suppose it's whatever you're thinking you're going to use it for, depending on if you think you're going to like it or not.
Right.
So, curious though. I don't know in September what's going to come out and when and. I don't know. See, I heard maybe the Apple Watch is going to get bigger screens and be thinner. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, considering I went with the 38 millimeter, I don't really need a bigger screen, but
well, I guess everyone's going low bezel-less or whatever. Or
oh,
just maybe less of a footprint.
Okay, that's fair. If they keep the devices the same, if they keep it, then
well,
that's cool.
There's I don't. A lot of people say it's too bulky. Well, people that I work with, I don't think that.
Yeah, a little bit. I figured they'd go thinner. That's what they always do, right?
Sure.
I think that's why they made it as thick as they did. They could always. Anyway,
there's battery. There's all that stuff. But yeah,
we should. Yeah, I should get on.
But you can keep going. Sure.
Next article, I suppose. At this point, this is coming from the very reputable World Economic Forum.
Oh heavens!
It just happens to be where I found. There's a video on Facebook that linked to this article. So, anyway, you get whatever. Not everything's going to be fully 100% trustworthy anyway. It's the internet, and not every good news source.
Wait, what?
Not every news source is not even the most reputable news sources get everything right.
I only thought you could put true stuff on the internet.
Yeah. So this device lets you talk to your computer without saying a word. Which is kind of a little misleading of a title, I think. But so it's a device that was developed by MIT researchers, and it can pick up neuromuscular signals in the jaw and face. This includes bone conduction headphones that transmit vibrations through face bones to your inner ear, which allows information to be conveyed to the user without conversation or auditory interruption. Which reminds me of the sunglasses that for playing music that would use your bones to sort of transmit to be able to actually hear it, which I've never experienced, but I've always kind of been curious about that before. So internal verbalizations that manifest themselves physically has been talked about since the 19th century, being investigated in the 50s and 60s. And in the 60s, speed reading movement sought to eliminate this, which I don't really understand that exactly. I don't know how you read without internally verbalizing it, but to determine which parts of the face gave the most reliable signals, 16 electrodes were hooked up to the subject's faces and subvocalized, which is another word for that internal verbalization thing. A series of words 4 times, so they basically think about a phrase or word 4 times in a row. Researchers found 7 areas that were able to distinguish words and prototyped a headset, the aforementioned headset, that touched these locations. More recently, it was discovered that it may be possible with only 4 electrodes. So, whatever, I guess there's 4 that are kind of primary to the 7. And researchers began testing both math problems and chess moves. I guess they said through the standard chess numbering system. A neural network was then used to find correlations between neuromuscular signals and words. Oh yeah, that's the part in the article that there are 2 straight paragraphs, and I was kind of, when I was writing this up, talking to Drew at the same time, and it's 2 paragraphs that talk about the neural network that I just literally, my brain just crashed.
Your neural network crashed?
I did not understand what they were saying for those 2 paragraphs, but you can read up on it. I'll link it link it in the show notes. A usability study showed in which 10 subjects spent 15 minutes preparing the arithmetic. How do you say that? It looks like it's just arithmetic, but arithmetic application for their own neurophysiology and 90 minutes executing computations, which averaged 92% transcription accuracy, which is pretty darn good, I think. Yeah. Accuracy rates are reportedly improving, however, and Amav Kapoor, a graduate, I don't know why that's bold, graduate student, did you do that?
That would be an exclamation point if you just said graduate, right?
Student at the MIT Media Lab thinks they'll one day be able to interpret full conversation, which would be sweet. I mean, I guess. Thad Starner, a professor at Georgia Tech's College of Computing, also mentions potential use in high-noise environments like airports, aircraft carriers, places with machinery, a power plant, or a printing press, and also mentions fighter pilots, firefighters, special ops folks, and those with disabilities that can't vocalize normally, and they used Roger Ebert as an example of that, before he passed. Because he had his jaw, he couldn't speak anymore. But that's about it in a nutshell. Tyler, is that a wave? Are you leaving? Bye if you are. Thanks for stopping by. But Tony, what do you think? What do you think about this? Yeah.
I'm trying to visualize this, and I'm probably not doing a good job.
Oh yeah, we have to. So if you go to the article, it
oh yeah, maybe I should do that.
Well, it gives you an idea of what this headset looks like. They describe it at one point as like a tentacle-like arm.
So it goes around your neck?
Wraps around your neck.
And like there and above your ears, and then it's here, and then back. All right.
Yeah, it's interesting.
So I'm not talking, and it's just the big benefit is just faster communication.
I think that's certainly part of it, but in a lot of cases, so the reason they mention like the special ops is because then it's for people that want to communicate silently more so, right?
So with secrecy or in mind, or security.
Audibly, inaudible.
Yeah,
But yeah, that
discreetly.
That too, I suppose, until the enemy can read that or listen that.
Well, if you're in a computer too, you have the benefit of encryption.
I was gonna say you can encrypt that shiz, but I keep thinking, well, definitely, I just don't think I would want this at work. Like all of a sudden, you just have a thought that is not, I don't know, let's say work friendly or something.
It's just a thought that pops into your mind.
Yeah, anything that's not work appropriate at all that pops.
Is there a certain level of control?
Or
is it
very early? It's still very early. Obviously, we can't read
true.
minds yet. Exactly, but apparently we're closer than I thought.
Sure.
Which is crazy.
Interesting and yeah.
Craziness.
Good applications to come
Madness.
with it, but we'll see. With if we can filter out what we don't want to share.
Yeah.
Then
yeah. You have to Well, I thought maybe it would work like push to speak or whatever on your computer, push to talk kind of a thing. You're like, all right, I'm only gonna focus on the specific thing now. I hope it would work that way.
Yeah.
All right. So. You want to start talking about some stuff that we hate?
Sure.
If we haven't already.
You know what really grinds my gears?
I'll tell you what grinds my gears.
It will.
Roads. Roadways. Roads. Roads.
Roads?
Tell you what, especially in cold climates, they just deteriorate so very quickly.
Oh, tell me about it.
Oh potholes and stuff like that. It's bad. It's bad stuff. And okay, I know I've read about I've talked about alternate materials on this very show.
Did it react?
With the, I mean, it's been a while, but the solar freaking roadways thing, I mean, that's, I don't know how feasible that really is, but long before even reading about that, I remember hearing about alternatives to straight, asphalt. And so I know stuff is being developed or has been developed, and we're still stuck with this. I guess cheap is part of the problem. I just feel like in the long run, if we can get something that lasts, 15 years or whatever, that we're going to save money in the long run. But instead, we've got construction all the time, everywhere. I'm not bitter. But I really am. And why'd you put work? Why'd you put work?
Shane's mad.
Put construction, work! Why does it say work?
Where are we looking now?
I don't
know. Even know where you are on this. Oh, grind my gear.
Work.
I don't know. Did you type this up?
No, I put construction!
What's that?
Just emboldening everything now. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Tony.
There.
Yeah. So, thoughts, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, this does. When you first talked about this, the first thing that came to my mind was a pothole that my car hit, and it dented a rim, and I had to buy a new one. And whoever I was with at the time, you should send, a letter or whatever to the city, see if they, I guess at the very least paid for it. I did, and I got one back saying nope. So, yeah, it sucks. And they try to be. I think they're a little bit more vigilant at seeing a pothole, or maybe somebody's like telling them about it, and then they're quickly out there to patch it. But yeah, I mean, that still takes time, and there's still that mentality where you're like, well, this is pretty bad, but I'm sure somebody called it in, so I'm not going to say anything. I think people kind of tend to think that way too, but maybe not. And so that, I mean, every time I see one, I really try to swerve it or whatever. But yeah, construction's bad. Roads. Could be better. For the most part, knock on wood, I guess, I haven't noticed anything too out of the ordinary. But, in terms of construction, there are slowdowns, there are lanes that close, there's backups, you're late for whatever. It does suck. So
there's just
but
so
then,
much.
On the other side of it, when things are all said and done, like some of these just huge projects that are said and done, they are amazing. Like some of these roads, like, I don't know, one of the roads that I took to work, it was closed for the longest time. Well, once it was open, I think it knocked off 10, 15 minutes off my drive every day. Because I was always taking back roads. And for the most part, it works. Every once in a while, you might have that accident that slows you down. But, so I guess, I don't know if you take the good with the bad, or it sucks, but, I mean, just, I suppose if you're patient and you just...
There you go, Tony. Always thinking on the bright side.
Well,
Looking at the silver lining.
Just because of that.
But it sucks! No.
It does. In the meantime, it does suck. And there's been a couple of long times I'm just sitting there. I'm like, yep, going to be late for work today. This sucks. Yeah. And, that just starts the day off just bad. When you kind of come in late, then you just bombarded with this, that, and the other. And
no, I agree about the... Yes, we should say that people do a great job. I mean... in the long run, it's great. There's some great work happening there. You guys are doing a great job. You're keeping us safe on the roads and everything. Good job. Good. It's good. I'm just suggesting that we, and maybe there's more I could be doing here to sort of escalate that process, because I think it's in the future that we'll start using better materials for roads. I hope at least, but.
Yeah, just stuff that works longer, more durable. I suppose as time goes on, we just keep finding better materials that could be cheaper, could be better. I don't know.
Well, and also a big part of my gripe, really, though, is sort of I always kind of feel like construction crews are just spread too thin in general, because I'll see. I would almost rather just work on one single project at a time, and because I feel like it's just spread all over the place, and and that's why it feels like stuff doesn't get done. There's just so much construction because it's not one specific area being worked on at a time, and those are really just my couple gripes with it. But
sure.
Anywho.
XP boost.
Today we're again doing a follow-up to, or an XP update on backpacks, or backpacks specifically. And I'm going to talk about what I happen to have right here, and it's stuck on my chair. Crap.
Big, big.
It's the
Big.
Air.
Air big.
Here it is again.
Yeah, big. Ooh, looks pretty,
Oh yeah, you
smells
see
bad.
that. You see that. What's that?
It smells bad.
It smells bad.
No, I don't know. I can't smell
Wow, smell-o-vision is real.
Someday.
It's old, I think. The Air Duffel Pack,
Air duffel pack.
which I've had for quite some time now, and just to kind of, I knew I was gonna forget to do this, but I want to quick double check on how long ago this was. And I talked about this back on episode 69, which was released when? Why don't I have the date on here? Tony, I should have the date on here. What's
Don't
wrong
you
with
have
me?
the date on all of them? And
No.
I'm pretty sure.
Not on here.
Wait, what was it?
I'll find out in just a second.
Didn't we
It is-
talk about backpacks on episode 34?
Oh, probably. Was it? Well, yeah. I guess
Unless
this
you did
one,
a separate one because you had an older backpack.
I did do a separate
You talked
one.
about a Swiss gear.
Swiss gear. Swiss gear. I talked about Swiss gear, or did Matt talk about a Swiss gear?
Man, I talked about Belkin.
Oh, and that was episode 34?
Yeah, I have it open right now because I was going to talk about mine nonsense.
Oh, good. So, what episode did I say? 69.
69.
69 is
And
the
it-
last one we talked about, and that one
You probably
was,
got something new, and that's why you talked about that one. Yeah.
of
go
course,
on.
that's the one I don't have downloaded on here for some reason.
It's just
Let's see.
fantastic.
View all other available episodes. Okay.
Okay.
And that would be terrible if it found out it wasn't on the feed for some reason.
It should be, 'cause I can-
I'm not seeing it. That's weird. Oh, there it is. Okay, so that was back in March of 2017. So it's been over a year, year and some change. And I tell you what, it's holding up great. I think, even though you saw that little frayed piece of it there.
Well, I don't know if you have that good of a camera. I couldn't see it.
Oh, good. I mean, it's awesome. There's just a little bit of damage on the.
Or I don't have that good of a display.
Here. Maybe could you see it a little bit here? A little bit of frayedness going.
Yeah,
on.
I do see that now.
Yeah, it's still
You're pretty
holding up
blocky.
though.
I'm sure it's me.
It's a little bit. That's the only damage on the whole thing that was on the one back strap of the thing, and it's. Other than that, quality the materials are really holding up well.
Yeah.
And I'm still, as I talked about in the previous episode, it was one of the biggest gripes I have is getting the shoes in the little shoe pouch on the bottom is still a little bit of a struggle. And I've learned ways of dealing with it. Just kind of. I think the best thing is to make sure that the main compartment, the main zipper on the thing is open, which still, as I have here, the main compartment still looks like you're performing an alien beetle autopsy, specifically. Yeah. I think that last episode we talked about this, I forgot to mention it does remind me of a beetle specifically, too. Because it's...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a beetle. But an alien beetle, because it's huge.
Can you fly when it's on your back?
I can. It's true. You have to be a beetle whisperer, and whisper sweet nothings into its. I don't know.
Thorax?
Yeah, into its mandible.
Do they have ears?
I don't know. It's antennae. Yeah. Finding things in the main compartment is still a little bit difficult as well, and. It sounds dumb to say. At the time, I was kind of poo-pooing the idea of it, but having like a smaller bag within it might help with that. I'm thinking more now that I should do that. Just have like a smaller bag with kind of some of the smaller things that I keep in that main compartment, just I think they'll be easier to find because the shoe bag, it goes up in there,
Yeah, I never liked that.
takes up part of it, which is
It takes a part of the storage that you put other things in.
Yeah, but it also gives you, it kind of maximizes your storage at the same time, so it's kind of a trade-off there. So, I'm still using the wet bags as well, which are those, yeah, that's right. I don't know why you're laughing at that, Tony. I know,
am I laughing
they're
at
for
it?
diapers, I know. But,
I didn't say anything.
but they work really well. Maybe not for you, who has to carry a sweatshirt for some reason. I don't know who does that.
When I go to the
It's
gym,
like 1980s people use sweatshirts, maybe.
How do you keep the sweat from dropping down to your face? Do you have a sweatband on? That's 1980s.
I tried that. I had tried that, but
You did.
I did, but no, I just get a hand towel, and that works.
You're a hand towel.
Hand towel, Tony.
Yeah, that's what I'm using. A hand
I
towel.
know. A lot of times I just let this when I'm on the treadmill. I just let it fly, and then I clean it up after. Like I don't know, but
doesn't sting in your eyes.
No, not with the towel.
No, with the hand towel.
I tell you, the only times that sweat gets in my eyes and it stings is when I'm outside and it's a hot day for some reason. Then there's been times where it's been excruciating. So, was that a subtle way?
Towel then?
Was that a subtle way to tell us you have big feet? No, that was just factual. That was just yes, I have big feet. That's just a statement. It's not being subtle.
I think I missed something.
It's
Are we talking about feet now?
It's a size bigger than what the bag is even supposed to allow. So, yes, that's also part of the issue with why I have trouble with it. But
just the feet.
I had mentioned that last episode as well, or the last time we talked about this. But there is I've noticed maybe a little bit of a minor odor accumulation over time that somehow seeps through those wet bags even, but very minor.
Yeah, your diaper bags aren't keeping that in?
No, I mean, I've had those for a while too. Like, those are still holding up for the most part, but
yeah.
I do think, like, so you're not supposed to put them in the dryer, and sometimes I'll let one slip through, so I think that probably diminishes some of the quality of those bags occasionally. And it depends on how long I have them in there, but for the most part, like, it's not, like, the bag as a whole, I would say, is not very smelly. It's like if you get your nose up in there, maybe you smell it a little bit. But
do you get your nose up in there, Shane?
I think it might be time for me to wash the bag again. I'm not gonna lie.
Maybe get a couple new ones. Get a couple new diaper bags.
Oh, though, yeah, I could, but I usually throw them out when they're useless.
Useless.
The one thing
How many times have you thrown them out or got new ones?
Maybe twice. But the biggest thing about those wet bags is like they have those magnetic sort of clasps on them that they'll just like escape from they have like a little area that they're stitched to kind of stay in, and those things get out of there pretty easily. So that's the biggest complaint about those. But so, and then in the laptop portion of the bag, that's kind of the smaller area in the very back of it. That's sometimes things get a little tight in there, and I don't know if I remember mentioning that last time, but sometimes it can be annoying. Like but I take this thing everywhere, and I took it on my trip to Texas, and it was good for that. But it's
what do y'all keep in it besides the workout gear?
Laptops, 2 laptops, 2 iPads. I keep a microphone in there because.
What kind of microphone?
It's an old Shure 57A, something like that. Or it doesn't matter.
For podcasting on the go.
No, it's actually for band practice, but because I usually go right from work when that happens. But and the only other thing worth mentioning, I guess. Is that there's like a cross buckle that goes across your chest that I have been using more. Just it's added security, so it kind of I feel like it takes some of the load off of your shoulders a little bit there too when you have that buckled. So if you end up getting this, I guess I'd recommend maybe using that. And again, I don't know. I'm still using the side pockets for like my chargers and track balls. Things like that. When I take it on trips, I have
Oh yeah.
I still have like some allergy medication in there, and business cards. Business cards for the podcast. In fact, that I probably.
Oh yeah, you still got some?
Probably never run out of those, but.
Oh, you still. Well, you never know when you can plug yourself.
Plug yourself. Yeah. What else I got in here? Just some. Oh yeah, some. I got like a map of the LBJ museum I was visiting.
There you go.
But yeah, it's overall. I'm still really liking it. I'd say $150, well worth it for sure.
Nice, $150.
See if it's still. Yeah. I had the. Oh, it says it's sold out. Wow, what is that? It's sold out. I think we helped with that, right? If we even had one sale off of this,
yeah,
that would surprise me. But that's the gray one. Out. I wonder if do they still? Oh yeah, additional colors black. I think it is totally out of stock. That's crazy.
That's right.
So it also makes it very difficult to help try to sell if they're going to be out of stock.
Maybe Amazon has some.
Also, this one looks different to me.
Ooh, it's a new version.
Maybe the gray. Well, the gray one looks like it might be a different material altogether. Maybe just the outside of it. I don't know. Could be the same. But
could be the same.
Could be the same. Anyway, that's my story.
Oh, yeah?
I'm sticking to it. What else is big? Okay. All right, Tyler. We get it. We get the joke.
Yeah. Sold out.
Yeah, that's weird, right? Weird.
I just found yours.
I hope that means they're going to have it back in at some point.
Huh?
I hope that means they'll have it back in at some point. I hope so.
Well, you never know.
All right. Well, Tony, questions?
Yeah.
Wait, are you talking about your backpack now?
Yeah, Tony. I can.
Yeah, well, let's talk about, what do you, yeah.
Well, I was looking back because just to give a little refresher on what I had, and I just lost it because I was doing stuff. What I have was and this is mostly, I think Shane has one that I think is mostly laptop, 100 laptops and desktops and everything he keeps in it, and his workout gear, and his diaper bag. I mean, he's got all that in there. I, on the other hand, I think part of me, and I don't know if this is just because I work out in the morning, and that's kind of like the separate bag. I don't know. I just want to kind of keep that stuff separately. I don't know. Maybe smell-wise, this, that, and the other. But the one I talked about before was a JanSport Boost laptop backpack. It's got two main components, and one of them was for 15-inch, up to 15-inch size laptop, 15-inch display. I still use that to this day. I think I got it. The last time I talked about it was, looks like August 9th, 2015. And, yeah, still rocking it, still liking it. Decent compartments. I like one is right on the top. So when I'm traveling, I usually keep like headphones in there. I guess I don't necessarily need them right now because, the iPhone kind of got rid of it. But some of the other cords for like, plugging stuff in for charging. I just like, keeping that under a seat, and then I don't have to pull the whole thing out because it's got that nice little pocket right at the top of it. But it's got like a whole bunch of, compartments all over it, and I just use it primarily for traveling with the laptop. There's a MacBook Pro that's usually in it, but it could really fit anything up to 15, and even a little bigger too. I really think it's maybe a little sized over if you have something a little bigger. And there's padding in there galore all over the place. But what I kind of, and I don't think I did a lot of research when I got it, but with JanSport kind of growing up, it's just lifetime warranty. I know I know my parents and sisters, whenever they've had backpacks, they've had zippers breaking or anything that happened to it, they would just send it back. And I'm sure it's easier now than it was then to send something back to JanSport. They would repair it or they'd give you a new one. And it was, it took a while because of shipping, but now I just feel like shipping is so ubiquitous and it's so easy, it's not a big deal. I haven't done anything with this backpack yet. It's still durable. It's great. It doesn't smell like poop.
That's good.
No, I'm just kidding. But I do like with I know Shane was kind of talking about this with shoes and stuff, and I do have a different backpack just for working out, and I haven't really used it in a while. But when I do use it, I was looking for something that, you could put shoes in, but I didn't like the fact that part of the same compartment that you put the shoes in on the other side of it was still another compartment that you could put something else in. And I know sometimes if I'm not thinking, I would put the shoes in first, and then I wanted to use the bigger compartment to put something else in, but then the shoe, what is the chamber kind of was in the way, and I just hated that. And I know there's some duffel bags around it where you don't have that issue because it's in a separate chamber that you can't access from another end. But I didn't necessarily like a duffel bag either. I kind of like the over-the-shoulder kind. I think that's easier. I don't know why I would like the duffel bag, but so I just went. I think it's the workout one I have. I think it's a Nike one actually. I don't know. I did go through looking at stores and online just for something, mostly just for working out. I think just keeping that separate because I don't really work. I don't take my laptop everywhere like I think Shane takes everything. Everything's mobile with him. So with me, I just kind of keep it separate. I find that a little easier for what I need and what I use it for. But still think it works with the JanSport. Every time I am traveling, though, it does come with me. So that's about it. All the tech goes in there. I don't have a problem. I usually have a couple batteries in there, like external, like bricks or whatever, and the laptop, the cords, the USB ports, dongles, whatever. So I think it fits perfectly. I think I've had a couple laptops. I think Kay had one in there once, and then I've had I think it's had 2 MacBook Pros in there at one point. So
yes, and I do still carry around 2 MacBook Pros as well. Mind you, the one slot on this one's a little shorter, and about it, I guess. But
have you ever thought about? I know I've seen your backpack, and you use all the room you can in that. It does take some effort to get things in and out. I think because it's so tightly packed. Have you thought about getting something separate for working out, or do you think it's just a good solution for everything still?
Oh, I think it's a great solution for because I'm actually fully using most of the things I have. Well, most of the things in and out on a very regular basis. So that's and
then the smell doesn't. I mean, you said it was a mild smell. Obviously, it's not
the mild smell. So that's in the main compartment where I actually keep the workout clothes, which is definitely separate from the laptops and the iPads. And there's a very thick lining between the two. And I've had zero issues with any of the moisture getting through or the odor for that matter.
Well, and I think the big difference with you versus me is, other than I do wear sweatshirts or sweatpants when I go to the gym, mostly in the wintertime, because I don't like wearing a coat because I like to get in and out or whatever. And I don't like the coat to smell like sweat because I wear that when I don't work out. So I kind of am different about that. But you go to a gym where you don't need to take a towel. I do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what takes up a lot of room too.
That's true.
So I feel like I gotta have something separate.
Very true. Very true.
So, but I've still looked at things, but I don't know. Yeah, I suppose this point in time with me, I think the working out part and the tech part is. I don't mind that being separate for now.
Sure. I used to have. I will say before I had like a shoe compartment, a separate, its own shoe compartment. It's kind of a pain. For a little while there, I was like tying my shoes to the back, outside of the backpack, and I thought that wasn't ideal. I don't think. Sorry, did you say your current one does have a shoe compartment or something, or is that something?
The gym bag, yes.
The gym bag. Okay, yeah, gotcha.
But I got to remember to put in the shoes. Now I don't even remember because I haven't used it long enough, but I remember putting the shoes first, and then when I put in like the towel and like my clothes, then I have to battle like the shoe space that's getting taken up on the other side.
And which one was which? Did you say the brand of both of them?
Yeah, the JanSport one is the tech one that with the laptop, but the other one is I believe it's a Nike one that I got at a sporting goods store after a while of looking at different things.
Gotcha.
After a while, I did get used to this stuff, so it's not that big of a deal after.
Sure.
But I thought just to see what they had out there and try to cater to what I think I'd like and what wouldn't annoy me. But
the size of this one is quite large, as I previously mentioned, and I know you kind of changed the title briefly for a second on this one, but I played this song for Tony last night, which was this song from Stroke 9 back in the 90s. I want to say late 90s, called Little Black Backpack, and it was it's something I did at karaoke a couple times now, because I don't know why, like some of those weird songs I've noticed that like I didn't realize how many of the lyrics I knew until. Because there was this time where I wasn't doing any singing at all, like, and, okay, Tony, I don't know what you're doing right now, but...
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
And then all of a sudden, I was singing for a while, and then, like, all of a sudden the lyrics came back to me, and it's a great song, you should look it up, but, it is a little older, and...
It's a great song!
So I think I'm calling this episode, though, Big Black Backpack, which might be a little suggestive, but
Big Black Backpack.
Yeah.
Backpack.
So, alrighty. Hey, if you want to email us, Tony, are you good, by the way?
Yes, I think that's all I have for now.
If you'd like to write us, you can email us at techiespodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook and Twitter at techiespodcast. Leave us a rating on iTunes. You can find us. Do a search for Techie Do a search.
I got that.
Do a search for Techie's Podcast, or check out or find us on our website at niceguynetwork.com/Techies. We're on Alpha Geek Radio and Stitcher, recording Sundays at 6/7 Central on our Facebook page primarily. That's mostly where you can find us. But we're also. Hey, somebody asked a question on Twitch. I just noticed that. Hey, what is this podcast about? Hey, it's about technology. Well, I'm sorry, simplifying our lives one gadget at a time. That's our slogan. We're also on YouTube and Twitch, as I had just mentioned, and we're on all three of those things.
That's right.
But you can find Tony at Why Not Big T, myself at Shave Maddox, and the very little bit that we may be on Twitter. And yes. I think...
And if we're not, then follow us on the Facebook.
Yeah, on
and
Facebook. Shane. I think...
Shane's Facebook.
Well, also, you can find more shows at niceguynetwork.com. That is our show, though, for this evening. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. Thank you, chat room, for chiming in, especially you, Tyler.
Yeah.
And until next time, take her easy.
Again. Damn it. You beat me to it.
Nice.
Again. How many people are left? Yeah, I'm watching Fortnite right now.
Nice.
There's something about it.
Sorry, No Limit Fitness. Did that answer your question? We talk about technology and
how many people are on this?
Specifically, well, there's one person watching right now. Specifically, technology that's there to simplify people's lives, and I realize it's a little redundant because that's most of the time the point of technology, although not always. Sometimes it fails miserably, or
sometimes you don't know. It could be so convoluted people don't realize it.
Right. Yeah, but it's a good time. It's episode 81, so we've been around. Well,
81.
We're a little slow. We're a little slow, admittedly, with sometimes.
That's true.
And with vacations and such, it makes it difficult. But
true.
We are still kicking. However many years later now.
That's true. Where did this start in? 14?
We're determined. Yeah, we're determined to get to 100, though. I think.
That's right. May 14th. Wow. Before I had Sammy.
Yeah. You know, we get it. Consistency is king, but
true.
Doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
You know, we have other
also,
things.
I feel like we're not gonna. I think this will be the first year we don't do BlizzCon.
Oh, wait, seriously? Oh, you got something?
Well, that's when New Orleans is.
Oh, no!
That's the weekend. I go there Saturday.
Well, I guess I'm just gonna have to get BlizzCon tickets then.
Yeah, man. I do. I feel like if we ever really want to do it, and we were gung ho, like if you say like let's do it, we're gung ho for next year. I would try my best to just try to start saving for it, and I think it's going to be ungodly expensive. But if I have time, I feel like I could stick some money away and just have at it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And then if we find a Southwest flight or whatever, something. I don't know if Southwest goes that.
I was just talking to you about that, right? Apparently the email updates. You got to watch for the email updates.
Yeah, the email updates. Actually, the other thing, I think I don't know how this worked. Maybe Twitter, is stalking me, but I think I saw Twitter had the thing like Southwest has their deals going on, flights low as $79 or whatever. Now, whenever they say those prices, it's usually for one way. So then two ways would be 80, pretty much 80 plus 80. So, but that depends also on the location where you're going. But if we ever wanted to do like BlizzCon, and I know Matt would probably be a little jelly too. That would be nice. Also, I think Rita's due in November sometime.
Oh gosh! All right, I should stop the feed.
Maybe, but everybody knows. But you can.
Oh, it is. It's fine. I cut it early. Everybody does know. Is it actually?
I think so.
Oh, God.
But like they're talking about different things and having parties and stuff. Wait, is it? Did you stop it yet?
No, should I stop it?
No, maybe to be honest.